Testing 1, 2. There we go.
For the latest on the conflict in Iran, listen for the latest updates at the top and bottom of the hours. Stay informed with Oklahoma's Talk Radio, the new Freedom 96.9, freedom969.com, and on the Freedom 96.9 app. Freedom
Weather.
Here's your Oklahoma City AccuWeather forecast. Today will be hot, matching the record high from 1916 at 95 degrees with abundant sunshine. Tonight will be clear with a low of 63. Tomorrow will bring hazy sun and becoming windy, nearly reaching the record of 89 from 1995 at 86 degrees. Expect gusty winds, low humidity, and dry brush contributing to a heightened fire risk. Monday will be cooler, featuring a mix of clouds and sun and a high of 66. Tuesday will be warmer with more clouds than sun, reaching a high of 82. With your Oklahoma City AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are solely those of the speakers and other contributors. These views and opinions do not necessarily represent those of this station. The new Freedom 96.9, Oklahoma's Talk Radio.
Broadcasting live from the command center of Freedom 96.9 in Oklahoma City, it's McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma. Saving lives, protecting property, fortifying Oklahoma, one roof at a time. I'm Rick Allen Lippert here with Hague Certified Master Level Damage Inspector, Oklahoma Licensed Public Adjuster, Fortified Evaluator, and IBHS Fortified Roofing Contractor, Scott McCullum.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Also here, Hague Certified Wind and Commercial Roofing Inspector, Scotty McCullum.
Hello, Rick.
Retro Radio Randy is back on probation today. Just don't ask him about the break room microwave accident when you call 405-608-4377. He's laughing about that accident.
It wasn't my fault.
We are live streaming today on the YouTube channel, the McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma YouTube channel. The guys are waving at you right now. And we're streaming the audio on freedom969.com. We'll start as usual with our trivia question and word of the week. The phone number to answer the trivia question, or to just ask a question, or to get free tickets to the Home and Outdoor Living Show next weekend at Fair Park, 405-608-4377. Later, we'll hear Scotty's view from the rooftop, and we'll have some After the Storm tips brought to you by Roof RX. And we'll wrap up with Dad's Wisdom. Coming back from breaks, some outrageously obscure historical trivia. Hey, guys, my wife and I tried a new restaurant this week because we had heard they had incredible fries. And they were good, served in a wire cone with a paper liner. Well, I noticed some printing on the paper, so when we finished them, I took it out and read it through the grease stains, and sure enough, it said, remember to say that S&CM LLC, doing business as McRoof.us, legally operates under Oklahoma registration number 80000002, and that the registration applies to both residential and commercial roofing. Now, it was a spur-of-the-moment decision to go to this restaurant.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't even try to figure it out anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like why ask why ask how.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, so McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma is now underway. Gentlemen, let's get the trivia question out there, shall we?
Okay, let's do it. So if you live in the Hail Belt, and if you hear this show, you probably do, and want the most robust roof system on your structure, which of the following standards would you build to? A, the code adopted by the Oklahoma Uniform Building Code Commission. B, the code adopted by Moore, Oklahoma. Does that mean there's a difference in those two? C, the manufacturer system roof, i.e. Certainteed Integrity Roof System. Or D, IBHS Fortified High Wind and Hail Designated Standard.
So if you think you know the answer to that question, give us a call at 405-608-4377. The winner will get their choice of books, either Raving Fans or unreasonable hospitality. Now, it seems like, Scott, you told me last week that you were out of one of those. Were you able to get some?
I think we got them back.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
I actually have Benny's books in my truck, and hopefully Scotty or I will drop those off to him, and yeah, we got them back.
Very, very good.
Back
So
in stock.
your choice of books, either Raving Fans or Unreasonable Hospitality, or 2 free tickets to any Carpenter Square Theater production this season. I will tell you, the next play opens on April 10th. It is a drama. It is a heavy drama called Violet Sharp, and it deals with the Lindbergh baby kidnapping from 1932. And if you recall your history, they did not find the baby's body in good shape. So I'll just leave it at that. It's a heavy play, but we have comedies coming up after that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. You gotta dose us right now here.
That's right. It's highs and lows. It's dynamics of live theater.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, the trivia question: if you live in the Hail Belt and want the most robust roof system on your structure, which of the following standards would you build to? A, the code adopted by the Oklahoma Uniform Building Code Commission. B, the code adopted by Moore, Oklahoma. C, the manufacturer's system roof, such as the Certainteed Integrity Roof System. Or D, IBHS Fortified High Wind and Hail Designated Standard. Now, if you're a regular listener to this show, that is the lowest hanging fruit you'll ever get.
Is it?
I think so.
Oh man,
the regular listener, viewer.
I really puzzled trying to figure out which one of the answer is.
Yeah, well, we had to ask, so maybe it was not so low hanging.
Of course,
exactly.
I'm easily bum puzzled. So.
Yeah. Okay, so I teased the Oklahoma Home and Outdoor Living Show at Fair Park next weekend. I mean, that's 6 days away. It opens on Friday.
Correct.
And I believe you're going to be on stage that afternoon.
Be presenting on Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Yes,
okay.
I will.
And so, folks, if you'd like to go to this, it's at the Bennett Event Center at Fair Park. If you'd like to go and get free tickets, you can get them right here, right now by calling 405-608-4377. 405-608-4377, and then you get to go to the show. Drop by the Roof RX McRoof booth, which
let's get that right. McRoof.us,
powered by
Roof RX,
yeah.
booth number 1420.
1420.
And I've got tickets here in my hand for Jerry and for Rowdy and for Benny. Those will be at will call for them. We'll probably take Benny his with his book today, but Rowdy and Jerry, yours will be at will call for you.
Very good, very good. All right, so Scotty, what have you done this week? Anything?
Well,
Not much.
What about the word?
Oh my goodness, yes, I forgot all about the word.
No,
I beg
you
your
didn't
pardon.
forget about the word.
I did.
I just thought you were jumping around.
What's the word, Scotty?
All right, coverboard is today's word.
Now, this isn't the thing from Back to the Future or whatever, the hoverboard.
No. Coverboard
Hoverboard
is
okay.
a thin protective layer that's placed on top of the insulation this is on a low slope roof system, usually a commercial or a residential low slope roof system that would be a mod bit, a TPO roof system, EPDM rubber, or maybe one of those with a coating on top of it. And the coverboard is on top of the insulation and beneath the weather shedding layer, the outermost facing layer of the roof that takes all the damage, takes all the abuse from the elements.
So is the coverboard a 4x8 sheet of something?
It is. Well, it actually comes in a few different configurations, but one of the most common is a 4x8 sheet.
All right.
And it depends on, we build the roofs to a certain specification.
There are
based
also
on
certain.
what the warranties are required to be.
Yes.
Some warranties will dictate that it can only be a 4x4 sheet. Mm-hmm. Some warranties will allow you to put a 4x8 sheet.
Because as you think about it, if you span a longer piece of material, there's a little bit less stability within the structure of that particular member.
Okay. All right.
Whereas if you have a shorter sheet, lengthwise and widthwise, there's just more. It's more rigid, especially once you fasten it down.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Okay.
And this is for a few different reasons, and I'm aggregating my definitions today, but the first is for dimensional stability of the roof membrane, so that it's got something to prevent lateral slippage or slippage in any direction of that outermost layer, which can cause wrinkles, can rupture seams, and ultimately end in leaks and other undesirable conditions. Fire resistance, all of these products that we use on a low slope roof, and I believe is now a pretty common requirement of any cover board, is that they must be Class A fire rated, which is the highest rating as far as fire rating goes. Wind resistance, cover boards do increase the wind uplift resistance of the outermost layer because they lend more rigidity as opposed to not using a cover board if you were going straight on top of the insulation boards with the outermost layer of membrane. And then all of these add up ultimately to contribute to a longer lasting roofing system.
Which is the ultimate goal.
Yes, of course.
And of course, you can imagine if you have hail, very severe hail, impacting a single-ply membrane that is on top of essentially a foam insulation board, you can understand what that impact does, all right? When you have that same hail hitting on top of a rigid cover board, then you have more stability in the membrane itself that prevents the ruptures, the punctures, the things that happen in hail when it's hitting strictly on top of a membrane on top of an insulation board. So whenever you get a hail rider on a commercial roof, a hail rider is almost always going to require that you have one of these structural cover boards in place. That's what gives you the protection from the hail.
And you can definitely feel a difference when walking on a roof with a cover board compared to without a cover board. And yes, it's expensive, especially if you have a large commercial property or a large low slope roof of any kind. But longevity, if that's a consideration, a primary consideration for you, you're probably going to want to put that on because it's going to outperform.
Well, we got to go to break, so don't get involved. Very quickly, what's cover board typically made of?
Well, they have a few different types, but a lot of it is gypsum. A lot of it these days is gypsum.
Or oriented strand board type, composite type boards. We use one called Dinsdeck.
All right, so we're about to take our first break. We'll be back in a flash. Our trivia question is still out there, and I don't have time to say the whole thing before the music ends. So I want to remind you, you're listening to McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma on Freedom 96.9. We'll revisit the trivia question when we come back.
Every property owner knows the pain of rising insurance costs, higher premiums, higher deductibles, and more exclusions than ever before. You may have even received a non-renewal notice or a letter stating your roof no longer meets our underwriting requirements and your policy will be canceled in 30 days. You don't know the condition of your roof, you're not a roofer, but neither does the underwriter, and they're making decisions that affect your coverage. RoofRx brings clarity to where uncertainty once lived. We're not roofers looking for work. We're certified inspectors dedicated to truth and transparency. We combine state-of-the-art imaging with generations of roofing expertise to reveal the true condition of your roof and maximize its remaining life. We turn complex data into a clear prescription: what can be maintained, what needs repaired, and what needs replaced. We perform and document that work for you and your insurance carrier and provide the peace of mind of lifetime workmanship warranties and money-back guarantees. It's not about replacing roofs. It's about helping you understand the true condition of your roof, mitigate your risk, and protect your insurability. RoofRx, the prescription for your ailing roof.
McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma back on the air. on this date of 1866, Congress authorized the National Soldiers' Homes. I think we now call them VA homes or veterans' homes. On this date in 1925, Tennessee passed the Butler Act, making it the first state to outlaw the teaching of the theory of evolution. That was repealed in 1967. Okay, our trivia question is still out there. I'll give you the number now and then, 405-608-4377. If you live in the Hail Belt and want the most robust roof system on your structure, which of the following standards would you build to? A, the code adopted by the Oklahoma Uniform Building Code Commission. B, the code adopted by Moore, Oklahoma. C, the manufacturer's system roof, such as CertainTeed's Integrity Roof System. Or D, the IBHS Fortified High Wind and Hail Designated Standard. 405-608-4377.
So,
okay,
Rick, hey, go ahead.
I was just going to bring us back to the composition of the cover board.
Okay.
I almost said hoverboards.
So the cover boards, as Scotty said, gypsum board.
That's like sheetrock, right?
Like
Rock wool.
Rock.
You know,
Okay.
So,
rock wool is another one.
Okay.
Fiberboard, composite type products. We use a product called Dinsdeck. In fact, we use Dinsdeck Prime because that keeps you from having to prime that product before you apply your membrane to it. So that saves a step. Now, when you're talking about money, and this is the thing that people need to understand, if you're spending $1,000 to $2,000 a square installing a commercial flat roof system, all right, that's when, and that number's everything. That's from the deck up. That's your insulation board. That's everything that you do on that roof. Drainage, flashings, everything. But if you're spending between $1,000 to $2,000 a square for that roof, adding cover board is a small percentage increment going up from there.
Okay.
And if you can build a roof that has a 2-inch, 3-inch, 4-inch hail rider on it, all right, by adding the cover boards and building the roof correctly, absolutely, it's going to cost you more money to build that roof. Say it costs you 15, 20, 25% more, okay? But if you've got a hail rider where you have a manufacturer guaranteeing that that roof is not going to be damaged by hail for 20, 25, 30 years,
right?
What is the value of that?
Yeah.
And that's where we go wrong, and homeowners do it at the individual home level. We dumb everything down to price, and we don't look at what that price is actually giving us or, unfortunately, not giving us in terms of the protection against the elements we know we're all subject to, all right? When people look at the incremental cost of adding the Class 4 impact-resistant flex technology shingles that we advocate, okay? When they look at the incremental cost of going full fortified, all right, relative to the cost of their roof, it is not a huge amount of money. But people nickel and dime and go, well, I don't want to spend that $2,500, or in the case of fortified, I don't want to spend that $7,000 or $8,000 in addition to the money the grant is going to provide. I just don't want to do that. Well, number one, you're going to be at risk eventually in terms of the insurability. Number two, you're definitely at risk in terms of having to do this whole thing all over again. And certainly if you've dumbed it down to a commodity level like a lot of the contractors present to their clients, you're absolutely going to be in the same boat you've always been in, a higher deductible, a bigger out-of-pocket expense, less coverage, and having to replace the roof again in 7 to 10 years. That's foolishness, and there's no reason for us to continue doing that. We know the risk we're up against.
I checked with AI to make sure I didn't leave any types of cover boards out, but it confirmed that gypsum-based cover boards and rock wool type or cementitious compressed fiber boards, those are the two main kinds of cover boards.
Good. So I have
Lots of different manufacturers, of course.
So Scott, I have a couple of comments, questions. It sounds like what you're making is the age-old question of cost versus value, and I'm one who goes more for value than for cost.
Well, let me tell you, when you met me 16, 17 years ago, Rick, we had that conversation.
We did.
And it's what has always been presented by McRoof to the marketplace. Every client, we don't assume what's important to people. We don't assume what people can and cannot afford. Every client has been shown Class 4 impact resistance. Now clients are being shown fortified. Clients are shown systems roofs. Clients are shown Code Plus, which is the only way we'll build a roof, and they're educated around the value that ultimately will come to them in those purchase decisions that they can make. We insist that our folks show people Class 4 impact resistance. Scotty had a client last year that we built his roof sometime last year, and last fall he was impacted by a severe hail event in Choctaw. And when I saw him re-enter our system, the first thing I did was went to Scotty's paper trail to make sure that I could see that Scotty had shown him Class 4 Flex Technology impact resistant roof, and that he had absolutely rejected Scotty's proposal for that.
Well, the reason he did that, though, as I might have even myself at that point in time, unless I had a buyer for the house lined up, his house was on the market. And
So
he knew he wouldn't be there for more
Yeah.
than a couple of years, and through an unfortunate series of events, the house stayed on the market for closer to a year, enough time to go by before another hailstorm
And
rolled
he got
by.
to pay another
Yeah.
rather large deductible
Sure.
that was more than what he would have paid for the improvement to the Class 4 impact roof. Let me say this. Even if you know you're selling your house, Class 4 Flex Technology is still value and will be value for you in the marketplace, because it expands the available universe of people who can now afford your home. If you have someone that's paying X for insurance and their ratios don't work out, they're disqualified from purchasing your home. If you have somebody that's paying 75% of X because you decided to put the right roof on the house, you have expanded your available buyer network universe.
It's a very simple marketing tool. Not tool. It's a very simple marketing
Concept.
point
Yeah.
to make with the documentation when you're considering selling your house, and when you have marketed your house, is 18 to 22% is the standard average across different middle market insurance carriers that people usually receive in Oklahoma for installing a Class 4 roof cladding. So 18 to 22% is what that buyer or any prospective buyer should expect to save on their annual insurance premiums, and that discount never goes away. That's a discount every year that they receive on their premiums. So
what we do,
what they might pay as an initial increase in the cost of the house because of having a Class 4 roof covering, that's negligible when you consider the customers we've had out there for almost 20 years now that have never had to replace a roof that had an old Class 4 shingle. Imagine what their past savings. They've made money in the way of the return on investment of that initial cost difference.
We need to wrap this up because the music is going to automatically
when
start.
When people are going to sell a house, we build a package for the realtor that has everything about that roof right there on the counter with all the other flyers and everything.
All right. When we come back, I do want to explore something that you mentioned in a little bit ago, and the words I believe were future insurability. I want to expand on that a little bit. You're listening to McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma on Freedom 96.9. Our number 405-608-4377. I'll repeat the trivia question after the news.
To hear the latest news and trending stories that impact your life, set a button to the new Freedom 96.9 and listen online at freedom969.com. Oklahoma's talk radio. Freedom
Weather.
Here's your Oklahoma City AccuWeather forecast. Today will be hot, matching the record high from 1916 at 95 degrees with abundant sunshine. Tonight will be clear with a low of 63. Tomorrow will bring hazy sun and becoming windy, nearly reaching the record of 89 from 1995 at 86 degrees. Expect gusty winds, low humidity, and dry brush contributing to a heightened fire risk. Monday will be cooler, featuring a mix of clouds and sun and a high of 66. Tuesday will be warmer with more clouds than sun, reaching a high of 82. With your Oklahoma City AccuWeather forecast, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are solely those of the speakers and other contributors. These views and opinions do not necessarily represent those of this station. The new Freedom 96.9, Oklahoma's talk radio.
McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma back on the air for the second half of this morning's live call-in show on Freedom 96.9 in Oklahoma City. On this date in 1935, Persia is officially renamed to Iran. How about that? On this date in 1947, President Harry Truman signed Executive Order 9835, requiring all federal employees to have, quote, complete and unswerving loyalty to the United States. Well, okay, our trivia question is still out there. The number is 405-608-4377. The question is, if you live in the Hail Belt and want the most robust roof system on your structure, which of the following standards would you build to? Pick one. A, the code adopted by the Oklahoma Uniform Building Code Commission. B, the code adopted by Moore, Oklahoma. C, the manufacturer's roof system, such as CertainTeed's Integrity Roof System. Or D, the IBHS Fortified High Wind and Hail Designated Standard. 405-608-4377. And I want to remind everybody that you can also use that same phone number to call us and get 2 free tickets to the Home and Outdoor Living Show next weekend at Fair Park, where Scott McCullum will be on stage at 3 o'clock talking about,
Hadn't decided yet. Hadn't decided
he'll be
yet.
winging it. He'll be doing improv.
Just winging it. Yep, absolutely.
Okay,
Improv
so
roofing talk.
when we last left you, I posed the topic of future insurability. Now that has an ominous ring to it,
Well,
ominous overtone anyway.
It's something that we talk about a lot. Conversations with the insurance carriers about what that future looks like, and some of the things that the carriers will be requiring in order for people to be able to have affordable and reasonably conditioned roof coverage. All right. And because roofs are such a significant percentage of the carrier's total losses, it really drives a lot of what's going to happen in the insurance marketplace. The carriers are going to end up in a place where they're going to have their insureds being active partners with them in risk mitigation. In other words, the idea of we're just going to deal with the unknown and we're going to assume the risk for the unknown, that is going to go away. And what that looks like is that consumers, asset managers, the people responsible for roofs will need to have documentation as to the condition of their roof. They will need to have some type of inspect, repair, and maintenance protocols in place to show the carriers that they are actually actively engaged and partnering with them in risk mitigation. Now, this is going to be incentivized by the carriers. All right, this is going to look like something where we've had conversations with some carriers that are thinking, we will just pay for that maintenance portion of it by selling an endorsement that can be added to the policy. That's one way. We have some carriers that have said, I want to do this as a service. We want to do this as a service for our insureds. Obviously, once the data set or the inspection is established, the baseline is established, and there's work that needs to be done, that's going to be on the insured's dime, all right? But what comes out of that is that you take unknown roof conditions equals unmitigated risk for an owner and for a carrier. You take unmitigated risk and you move it into the category of a managed roof asset for an owner and for a carrier. That's where this is going. And so the idea that we don't look at roofs until there's a claim, the idea that we don't know, we're going to average it all out and hope that it works out for the carriers from their standpoint. The thing that happens is when the carriers look at one of our RoofRx data sets, they learn a lot more about that risk than just about the roof, all right? Because what we know is that if the roof is not maintained, managed, the property itself may be not maintained and managed in the same way, all right? So we do, because we have overview photographs and we have all the photographs around the elevations, and we have the photographs from up high where you can see the entire property. And then we have obviously everything that we do in our data sets for the roof capture itself. There's a lot of information in there that the carriers can glean from. Is this client maintaining this property in a way that would look like risk mitigation to us as a carrier? And if not, then probably be something where they ask you to begin doing that. It's not going to, I could not imagine very many circumstances where they're going to tell you they're going to cancel you, all right? But I could see them saying, hey, in the next 90 days, could you do such and such, such and such around your place? See what I'm saying? So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about moving things from unmitigated risk because it was an unknown condition to everybody. Now you know what the condition is. That gives you a path forward. Let's execute the path forward. Once you've done that, they're going to reward you. They're going to incentivize you. Now, when it comes time for renewal, you're green in their eyes. You're green as far as the risk spectrum goes. You're an active partner in risk mitigation with them. They're going to condition your renewal. They're going to price your renewal. You're going to be rewarded for that behavior. If you don't do that, then you'll end up with the ever-increasing deductibles, the bigger and bigger out-of-pocket, the donut hole, the reduced coverages and things like that, and ultimately at a place where you will not be able to have insurance on your roof. That's just kind of where it's going to go. So that's what I'm talking about protect your future insurability.
Okay. It is time for Scotty to climb up on that roof. Now, the wind didn't seem to be very high this morning, but oh my goodness, it has come up all of a sudden.
It sure is hot up there, though.
Oh, Scotty. All right, Scotty, what's the view from the rooftop this week?
Well, I've been thinking about a conversation with a customer that I had a few days ago. I just called him to check in on the repairs that we did on his on a property that he owns that his mother lives in. We did repairs last spring or summer, and those are doing just fine. But he asked some tough questions that weren't so tough for me to answer, but his position sounded very firm that he thought, whose side are you on? And that's the title today.
Whose side
are you on?
I love that question, Scotty.
Well, I do too, because that boils down the nature of our conversation. He had a claim on his personal house more recently than when we did repairs on the property his mother lives in. And he enlisted the help of another local contractor, because he has been an infrequent listener of the show over the years. And it sounds to him like we have picked a side, and that side is the side of the insurance companies. Because of our stringent requirements, our standards for assessing storm damage on a property, and our threshold being set at a higher point than all contractors that I've ever been aware of, and most carriers even. So he says we're trying to protect an insurance carrier. Well, we're not. And I hope that this was going to be a dialogue.
Well,
because I know Scott's over there chomping at the bit.
And Rick, I can tell you wanted to know what I was going to present. I just found out what I'm going to present. It's going to be the edge of the coin is what I'm presenting on a Friday afternoon. There's no question about it. Let
me talk just another few seconds, and then we can have a dialogue. So we have to differentiate Roof RX and McRoof. Roof RX, yes, it's a new thing. It's state of the art in how we approach data-driven inspection protocols and reporting of conditions that we find on a particular property. But McRoof is still a local, long-established, family-owned roofing company in Oklahoma City, and we rely on storm damage to generate our revenue and our paychecks and our livelihoods.
Yeah.
We are not on the side of an insurance company, because if we were, we would be out of business and we wouldn't have a family business.
Right.
And we're definitely not on the side of the insured, the homeowner or the property owner, because that would get us in hot water all the time with the insurance companies, and then they'd realize, oh, this when we see a claim from where McRoof is the contractor, we can disregard it because they're a bunch of hooligans. They tell everybody to file a claim when they shouldn't.
It's real simple.
And Rick says we're coming up for a break, so this will definitely bleed into the next segment.
It's real simple. It is the edge of the coin. All right, we are in this to establish what the actual value of any loss is relative to a storm damage claim. We're in it to do that accurately and correctly. We use our technical competency in insurance restoration, our knowledge of building codes and systems plus roofing, and we design that out in a way that we can display to, in the form of Xactimate, a carrier exactly what they owe for that roof. All right? That's what we do. We don't.
All right. We'll
To be continued.
Yes, we'll continue this after the break. We have to take our final break. Hey, Benny, hang on. I know you're there, and you're going to get this trivia question right. I feel it in my bones. You're listening to McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma on Freedom 96.9. We'll be back in a flash. Stay with us. Homer Stacy was a wholesome, good American kid from Texas. At the age of 18, he enlisted in the United States Army Horse Cavalry and was stationed at Fort Bliss. Homer was fascinated with aircraft, so he went to flight school and became an Army Air Corps pilot. Homer Stacy flew a Convair B-24 Liberator, the Yankee Doodle Dandy, on November 11, 1943, when his crew, along with 31 other bombers, destroyed a ball-bearing plant in occupied France. On a return trip, a mechanical failure caused the Yankee Doodle Dandy to drop out of formation, leaving it vulnerable, and shortly thereafter, 7 German Me-109s shot down the plane near Andano, Italy. 4 crew members were killed on board, the others parachuted. 1 was captured and taken prisoner. Homer was among the remaining 5 who made it to Switzerland and returned to duty. Homer Stacy survived World War II, the Korean War, and retired after 23 years of service with many awards and commendations, including the Distinguished Flying Cross, the Purple Heart, and multiple air medals. Homer Stacy McCollum, Scott McCollum's dad. Scott McCollum is McRoof. McRoof.us is owned and operated by the McCollum family, an honorable, trustworthy red, white, and blue family. If you want to fortify your property, call McRoof.us at 405-877-4663. Ask for your complimentary roof inspection performed by a credentialed Hague residential inspector. McRoof.us, saving lives and protecting property by fortifying Oklahoma, one roof at a time. McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma, back on the air for the final segment of this morning's live show. Benny, I know you're hanging on.
He's going to have to hang on too, because I got to finish this after you get done with your trivia.
Hang on just a little bit longer, Benny. Hang on. On this date in 1952, 20,000 people in Cleveland tried to get into the old Cleveland, the 12,000-seat Cleveland Arena for the first ever rock and roll concert presented by DJ Alan Freed. It was called the Moondog Coronation Ball, and it featured a bunch of performers you've never heard of. On this date in 1963, Alcatraz prison in San Francisco Bay was closed.
Okay.
All right,
I got to finish this up.
Okay, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I was just going to remind everybody about the Home and Outdoor Living Show.
Okay, go right
And you
ahead.
can call 405-608-4377 to get 2 free tickets, but you have to wait until Benny finishes his call.
So I'm going to take 2 minutes. So
Okay.
the edge of the coin's very simple. This is where I believe that every reputable contractor, what, Scotty?
I think it would be even more helpful if I just give you a line from the guy. He says, "I've been paying my premiums for decades on this property, and then when I have enough storm damage, or when I have storm damage, I can't trust that I'm going to feel protected or indemnified in the case of an insurance contract if I have a contractor who is looking out for every technicality and not going on those technicalities to try and get me what I have been paying for all these years." He's saying in the example of having a old discontinued shingle on his roof and not necessarily having the damage threshold that we usually look for, but certainly some notable impact damage and weather-related storm damage.
Okay. So the edge of the coin is very simple. It is the place that I believe that every reputable contractor of integrity should live. The edge of the coin is a recognition of the relationship between the parties involved in insurance restoration. There is a carrier, there is an adjuster, there is an insured, and there may be a contractor. Every one of those parties should understand the relationship, that everything comes down and boils down to a contractual relationship between the carrier and the insured. That's the contractual relationship that it is our duty to keep that coin standing on its edge. It is our duty to advocate for our mutual client, the insured, but not to the detriment of or in violation of the contractual agreement between the parties. It is our job to determine accurately and honestly, to the best of our technical competency and abilities, the value of that insured loss. Insured loss meaning it is the direct result of an occurrence and a covered peril under that contract, okay? That's what it is. It is our job to determine the value of that, the scope of that, the extent of that, and to honestly and accurately portray that value in the form of an Xactimate claim summary to the carrier involved. That's the edge of the coin. We don't ask the carrier to pay for one dime that we don't know from our investigation that they owe the insured. We're not going to ask for deferred maintenance. We're not going to ask for your house to be painted. We're not going to ask for the garage door that your kids bumped into with the bumper of the car. We're not going to ask for the fence that the kids beat down with the soccer ball. We're not going to do that. And there are thousands of contractors in Oklahoma that will. Please go find one of them. We are not that company. We're going to do this as honestly and accurately as we can. I will give you a situation that will prove to you the truth is the truth. We were asked by an insured, a client, to present a claim packet. RoofRx was. That claim packet was presented to the carrier. That carrier had an independent adjuster's report, another independent adjuster's follow-up inspection, an engineer's report that all supported their denial. We built a packet of information that the insurance carrier understands. The truth is the truth. How in the world could we have come to these conclusions and told our insured we were not paying for this roof? That was over a $500,000 claim that was reversed based simply on our doing what we do the way we do it. And if that's not what you want, please don't call us.
Okay.
Enough said. I mean, I'll just close with this. It does boil down to honesty and trust. Our business is riddled with fraud. It always has been for decades.
Our industry is, not our business.
Right. Yeah.
Our business sector, the roofing business, our industry, it has been riddled with fraud. That's no surprise. It still happens today and will for many years. But we have to try to counteract that by being as accurate, as precise, and as honest as we possibly can with the carriers, with the clients, so that we can level the playing field, try to, and we can restore a little bit of that broken trust every year that goes by, because there's been just a huge discrepancy between the truth and what insurance companies get shoved down their throat really by contractors who are unscrupulous
and what insurance companies are shoving down the throats of consumers. That's
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
And that's where and this conversation is obviously where RoofRx was born, from these experiences and these frustrations that are shared commonly between carriers, contractors, and clients.
Yep.
We need to get to Benny.
Well,
hello, Benny.
Hey, just a minute, Benny. Hold on one more second. I'm going to take license here. So we're having this conversation. We're having a values conversation.
Right.
We're having a conversation about what's going on in the swamp that is insurance restoration. If there's anybody out there listening, I've got an event for you with my good friend Chris Meredith, who's a candidate for insurance commissioner in Oklahoma. Wednesday, April the 1st, from 5 to 7 p.m. at Little Mike's Hamburgers. Come and have a conversation. If you're a homeowner that wants to say something, an insured that wants to say something, if you're an adjuster that wants to say something on this topic, if you're a contractor, if you're a builder and you want to say something to Chris Meredith about this topic, come to Little Mike's Wednesday, April the 1st, between 5 and 7 p.m., and let's have a conversation. We all have to be a part of telling the truth about what's going on and all accept our role in that and what our responsibility needs to be going forward, and let's drain this swamp that we all live in.
All right.
All right, Benny.
Okay, now, Benny, are you still there?
I are still here.
Thank you, sir, for hanging on for so long.
Hey, let me climb down off my pulpit, Benny.
It's your show.
All right, so Benny, let me for the folks who may not have heard the whole trivia question, if you live in the Hail Belt and want the most robust roof system on your structure, which of the following standards would you build to? The code adopted by the OUBCC, the code adopted by Moore, Oklahoma, the manufacturer's system roof, such as CertainTeed's Integrity Roof System, or the IBHS Fortified High Wind and Hail Designated Standard?
Okay, well, before I answer that, Scott, I'm not at home and won't be till afternoon.
Okay.
However, I will be up in your general area Tuesday afternoon, taking my son to one of his regular.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna put your
just went
books
by
and
y'all.
I'm gonna put your books and your tickets on Carly's entry table. Okay.
Super duper. And could I get 2 more tickets? And if they cost you something, and my neighbor friend that I'm encouraging to utilize your roof.
Oh well, they're about $1,000 a piece, but I just took them out of my envelope and I'm putting them in yours, Benny. You got them.
Well, whatever they cost you, if he's a no-show.
Well, they cost me whatever I paid to be a part of that show. So,
Okay, Benny, A, B, C, or D?
D, of course. And by the way, C is incorporated and encompasses a great portion of D.
Okay.
ding, ding, ding,
you're
ding,
correct
ding. I don't
about
know.
that.
I don't know what the guy's going to keep winning.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
know.
well, save those theater tickets for somebody who would like to go that couldn't otherwise, because the people I used to be able to give them to are no longer able.
All right, bless
sounds
your heart.
good. All right, Benny.
Okay,
Thank
now
you, man.
I also understand you have a question for us.
Okay,
On
man.
the age of the coin,
Yeah.
it's about fairness to all parties
That's
involved.
exactly what it is. And there's a relationship where everyone has a duty to everybody else in that. And that's not what we see exercised day in and day out. So you're absolutely
No,
right.
That's why we have Wanda waiting in the wings when necessary.
Thanks, Benny. Appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate your time.
Thank you,
bet.
Benny.
I want to talk for just a second. I do want to make this point.
You got to make it quick because I got to get
Code adopted by OUBCC or by Moore, Oklahoma. Moore, Oklahoma is more stringent than OUBCC.
Oh, good for them. All right, so S&CM LLC, doing business as McRoof.us, legally operates under Oklahoma registration number 8000002, and the registration applies to both residential and commercial roofing. All right, so we don't have time for the after the storm tip, but if you want to call RoofRx, that number is 405-877-4ROOF, or you can find them online at roof-rx.com. Okay, Dad's Wisdom.
Dad's wisdom. Trust is built on telling the truth, not telling people what they want to hear. And that is not from Dad, although it sounds similar to Dad. That's from Simon Sinek.
All right. So, folks, you've been listening to episode number 51 of McRoof Fortifies Oklahoma. Next week will be our first anniversary program.
Very nice.
I'm Rick Allen Lippert. Thank you, Scott McCollum. Thank you, Scotty McCollum. Thank you, Retro Radio Randy. You're welcome. We'll be back next week.
Enjoy your weekend.
Have a good week, everybody. Stay cool.
KQOB Enid, Oklahoma City, 2026. A celebration of freedom and the open road. Oklahoma's talk radio. The new